Hello everybody. I was just wanting to do a little review on Killing Jesus, that History Channel episode. I watched it last night and I'm trying to bring it over here on my screen. But obviously it won't even come over, and it really doesn't matter because the entire episode sucked. My first half-hour review of this movie, it starts out with King Herod having a nightmare, and he sees Isiah the prophet in a dream, and this is all kind of like fabricated. And then the storyline, it starts going off track. Instead of an angel visiting Joseph to warn him that King Herod wanted to kill the child, Joseph gets a feeling, and once he gets this feeling, that's whenever he leaves the city of Bethlehem. And then next it portrays Zachariah and his wife as kind of like young people, like Mary and Joseph. And the biblical text clearly makes them much older. We know that Zechariah was a priest in the temple, and Elizabeth was a very old person, and Zechariah was a priest. And instead of having Mary go visit Elizabeth and Zechariah, it has Zechariah coming and visiting his wife Elizabeth, which was kind of strange because as far as I know, that's not recorded in the text. Now, the second half-hour review, the movie kind of travels pretty fast, but basically the producers of the movie naturalized all supernatural testimonies that were included in text. Basically, they disregarded anything that was supernatural recorded in the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then just portrayed this Jesus character here as an ordinary average man, and he believes in prayer and the imaginations of his head. He's in a boat with Peter and prays, and then they catch a lot of fish. So this is very different. So this is the actor portraying Jesus. He's in the boat with Peter. Peter has his net cast off the side, and Jesus is out there in the boat with him all day. Instead of telling him to go back out and catch some, Jesus is with him the entire time. I mean, it's a very poor production as far as historically based literature. The filming was great, the image pictures and stuff, but this is presented from a purely naturalistic worldview paradigm. Basically, all the followers are portrayed as stupid people. You know, that they're not hard-working fishermen supporting their families. Basically, if you go out and go fishing with somebody and they help you catch a lot of fish, you're going to leave your whole livelihood to follow this guy. Well, that's the way they portrayed these people, as just ignorant, stupid morons. And that they're following this common, ordinary, average guy that really has nothing special. He's probably superior in intellect just a little bit, but nowhere near the caliber of person that would change an entire world as Christ was. So whether you believe in the supernatural or not matters not. I mean, the fact of the matter is that these historical writings that these people are basing their movie upon did contain supernatural events. And so, going into the second hour review of Killing Jesus, John the Baptist gets his head chopped off, but the portrayal in the movie did not reflect what was written at all. I mean, Herod, we know, as far as the biblical text goes, you know, was a respecter of John. Here in this movie, you have Herod throwing pieces of food at John, you know, and stuff like that. We know that John was imprisoned and beheaded because of Herod taking his brother's wife, and her daughter Salome requested the head of John the Baptist after a nice dance, but they kind of screwed that all up. Also, the Christ, Jesus, he uses terms in the movie like "I think," and he's not really sure of himself and just trying to find his way. Basically portrays a bunch of uneducated idiots following him around and making a big deal out of nothing, which I find very unconvincing. I really believe that this is a very disingenuous portrayal of what was clearly written, even if you believe in what was written or not. It reflects nothing of what was written. I think the producers were off their rocker. It was a horrible flick. Did not portray anything accurately about the text. Next, I also notice the events. Well, you know, let me back up here a little bit. We all know that in the first part of the story that an angel comes and talks to Joseph. Well, here he's getting a feeling that he should leave the place because Herod is getting angry and wants to kill the children. So I just wanted to cover that real quick. So as we go on, I notice also an event where the Jews brought the woman to be stoned, caught in the act of adultery. They leave out the most important part. Jesus knelt down and drew with his finger in the sand. Now, you might ask me, why is this such an important part? It's because historical scholars look for tidbits of meaningless information to authenticate a story. Here's the deal. If there's little bits and pieces of a story that are absolutely, totally meaningless, then it's a more believable story. You know, the fact that Jesus knelt down and wrote with his finger in the sand. You know, this is a piece of meaningless information, but what that does tell us is that the writer was there, you know, and that he saw this happen. Even though it's meaningless, he decided to include it in the text. Now, as we go on, the wit of Jesus seems to be fake as well in this production. The real Jesus seems to be a lot wiser and more of an authority figure. But this portrayal of Jesus portrays him as kind of like an unconvinced individual. And, you know, whenever they're talking about paying the taxes to Caesar, I think that the actor came off more of a smart aleck, and you could almost tell that he was trying to imitate something than actually being a genuine authoritative figure. And so the more I watched, the less I was convinced that this was an accurate portrayal of the events, but a mockery of what was written in historical literature. There is no supernatural miracles in this movie at all. It's total hogwash in comparison to the text that was written. Now, my conclusion of this review is I felt like my time was wasted watching this movie. The reason depicted why they killed Jesus was actually very similar to the biblical text, but the insignificant portrayal of his character was a real letdown. I don't think anyone would be inclined to follow the person depicted as Jesus in this History Channel production. So here's the deal. If you don't believe in the supernatural, then you have no business making a movie about Jesus Christ. There is no way hardworking fishermen, hardworking men are going to go follow a man because they catch a lot of fish. This was a complete hogwash of a production. I think it should be scrapped, and that's how I feel about the movie. Just complete idiotic nonsense. Thank you.